Very much. First, I'd like to thank the conference organizers for giving us the opportunity to address this important forum. It's exciting to see the innovation and creativity taking off in the kingdom. I'd also like to point out that I've been the chair of the International Advisory Board at KFUPM for the Entrepreneurship Institute. And so I've had a chance to watch this evolution over the last 3 years. With respect to the fourth industrial revolution, first, it's a very broad topic. We've gone from AI and then systems for spurring companies to move quickly, and then the ethics and the human capital. What I'd like to talk about is one important aspect of this very broad area, and that's the need for moving quickly. Okay, we're all sitting on a great deal of technology. And this technology enables things that 20 years ago would have been very hard to accomplish. So even though we learn over a lifetime, in our time scale of thinking, we think things change slowly. The ground has shifted greatly. And so as we compete in this fourth industrial revolution, we have to be much faster in how we achieve things. I'm going to focus on the university system for speeding up moving research to practice, and we call that deliberate innovation. Thank you. Now, the fourth industrial revolution, we like to give labels to advances, but the seeds of the fourth industrial revolution have been with us for a few years. I like to look at the second and third industrial revolutions, and we see the beginnings of speed of development. You can go back the whole way to World War II, and in 3.5 years, from 1941 to 1945, thousands of pieces of technology were moved from research to practice. Of course, there's the famous Manhattan Project, but there are a lot smaller innovations that were moved very quickly. Radar, strobe photography, jet engines. These were all done in a very short period of time. I know we sometimes speak that it takes decades to move research to practice, and there are good reasons that it can take that long, but it can also be done very quickly, and we've seen it as far ago as 70 years. The other thing that we've all lived with, anyone carrying a smartphone, is familiar with Moore's Law. Every 2 years, you probably want to upgrade your phone, because every 2 years, computers get twice as fast or they cost half as much. Moore's Law is probably the best example of deliberate innovation that we have in our society. Okay? Companies and industries have spent billions of dollars in order to keep Moore's Law going. Okay? So the point I want with this slide is the history of deliberate innovation is already very rich, and it's going to become a daily piece of life for all of us as we go forward. I don't know if I can show you the Purdue system of innovation. I would have to get a mouse. But let me describe it quickly. We began developing a system of deliberate innovation at my university, thank you very much, in 2002. Okay, so 3 presidents ago of our university, and continued since, has developed this system of deliberate innovation. It built on 2,000 faculty, all of whom do research just like the faculty in the kingdom do, and we added a park that allowed many of these faculty to get together in $1 million projects or larger, transdisciplinary projects. And then in the last 10 years, we've added a system of entrepreneurship, and then most recently, we've developed a system that extends the whole way from the faculty out into our industrial research parks. Now, in a short 7 minutes, I can't describe this system, but what I really want to emphasize is that these systems can work very well. Until 2002, Purdue averaged about 8 companies a year. 2,000 faculty, 8 companies. The same 2,200 faculty, we've grown by about 10%. In the last 4 years, we've averaged 25 companies a year, using more stringent metrics for the nature of the companies. What I want to do very quickly right now is go through the pieces of this system that are deliberate innovation, things that make the system go faster. Okay? This is done through our Burton Morgan Center. The other thing, since I noticed one of our speakers was an economic development consultant, I wanted to talk about what happened with this system since 2002. In 2002, we had 500 employees in our industrial research park. As a result of this system, we've grown by about a factor of 10. We now have about 5,000 employees, and these employees have an average income twice the average of my state. So this deliberate system is having an economic development impact. Although it takes a couple of decades to have a factor of 10 improvement, these deliberate systems do work, okay? One of the things that we've done at the university is develop a system for training our young faculty. So it's called the Entrepreneurial Leadership Academy. This is a program they participate in for a year, and they're given a small amount of money to develop a company or a new idea in the system. So that's for young faculty. We have a program for our more senior faculty. It's called the Deliberate Innovation for Faculty program. Faculty are drawn from across the university, and they work on a transformational idea for the system. One of our business school professors works with the National Science Foundation in having a Midwestern network for companies. I'm not going to go through all of them, but suffice to say that we pulled the top faculty, give them a year in order to do something transformational with the system. And our system is really a product of the efforts of these faculty over the years. So that's older faculty. Another very important program, and I think there's a huge opportunity for this in the kingdom too, and that's the idea of having large companies formally recruited to be first customers for smaller companies. We've done this successfully for several examples. One example I'd like to point out is we became we recruited a first customer for a company we started in Africa to provide clean water. And this company now, after we bought the first few versions of its product, has delivered product to 10,000 families in Western Africa. This was one of our PhD students that started this company from Africa, getting a PhD at Purdue. We took a technology from the university, and the university became the first customer. We used it in many of our classrooms. There's a product called SkyPack, which is a way to deliver textbooks electronically. And then another product is we became the first customer and bought the first few products of some of our faculty, so that then once companies could see that those products that we bought work, then that kind of primed the pump. So the first customer program is very important. We've also developed a PhD track that's business oriented. So not a business school track, but an engineer or political science or any PhD can get on this entrepreneurship track and get help in turning their PhD thesis into something that can go into the marketplace. They publish papers, they publish a thesis just like any other student, but they also take a few courses through our program to help them move their technology out to practice a lot faster, maybe start a company when they graduate. Okay, we've done substantial changes to our IP policy. Students who aren't part of a funded research project from a company can own their own IP. And this is a little pamphlet that tells them, and we hand it out to all the students when they come in. And then we also have a very quick policy for our faculty to get the IP that they generate as a faculty member and turn it into a company. Purdue my university has won several awards for these innovations, these deliberate innovations. We run an award starting in 2014, but we've won a national award each year since 2014 to recognize these innovations. I would tell you that deliberate innovation is alive and well in the kingdom. Over the last 3 years, I've seen a system evolving at King Fahd University of Petroleum and Minerals, which is very, very high impact. First of all, King Fahd University, KFUPM, I've seen that they really publish a significant fraction of all the IP in the kingdom. So there's a very good system because they're a very strong STEM university. But I've also seen a system take root where some research, which would have normally taken a long time to come out into practice, has moved very quickly because of the system that Professor Musa and the rector and the rest of KFUPM has put into place. This example and the example I'm going to give you today involves a problem that you have in the kingdom, and we certainly have it in the US, and that is a lot of old tires. Okay? You can't use them on your car anymore. You still have some very, very good material properties, very, very highly engineered. Tires are expensive, so the materials that are very high value. So you go from them sitting out in a dump somewhere, based on Professor Nasser El-Akili's research, he recognized that you could turn these very, very valuable materials. You can't use them as tires, but if you grind them up and use the crumb rubber, you can make coatings and construction material and that have all kinds of nice properties because the expensive material that you're using has nice properties. Anyway, the system at KFUPM that I saw, the student entrepreneur was paired with Professor Nasser and turned into a company called Tila. Now, it's still a very small company, and they still have they're like a guppy in the ocean. They still have a long way to go. But this is a company that formed very quickly to solve a very important problem that vexes us all. So I want to point out that I gave you some examples of deliberate innovation from my university, but here's an example of deliberate innovation working within one of your universities. So I think you'll see more of this kinds of systems, these deliberate systems, in the fourth generation. Thank you very much.